everyone, I just wanted to make this a quick video just to kind of give you the basics before I let loose on you with a few YouTube videos about some of the planets that are activated at this moment. I have my natal chart up on the screen for you guys to see. The inner circle is the planets that belong to my natal chart. So for instance, if you look at the 5th house, you see that I actually have my moon in the same exact place where we're having this solar eclipse full moon. Something else to point out that I thought was super interesting, and I am still a noob, so I don't know what the south node being there, how that factors in, especially being that it's 12 degrees and Uranus is 13 degrees. But see that Uranus and the moon are only 5 degrees apart. Well, the thing with that is that something occurs, okay? Okay, so this is what you need to remember. In the case where two planets are located within 15 degrees of each other, in the same sign, of course, right? Or I would assume the same sign. The maturity of the early maturing planet will be held back till the other planet matures too. So we do have to clarify that. So just to simplify it, let's just look at my chart. Excuse me. Let's look at my chart. So this is, there's only a 5-degree difference between my moon, which is a luminary, which is very important because your luminaries are more important than the planets, right? So my moon is in Sag, which is in the house, the 5th house, which is children, play, pleasure, joy, hobbies, etc. That's my safe zone. And then if you go across the pie, that's where you find your north node, and that's, oh, I think I misspoke, my south node is down here. So then my north node is up here in Gemini, and we actually have a lot of active planets here in Gemini. We have the sun, we also have the north node. So as you can see, this is actually the same year of my solar return. Well, actually my solar return was last year. No, I think it was this. I think it was supposed to be last year, but it ended up being this year or something somehow. But I gotta double check that information. But all I know is that planets mature at different times. So before I go into that, I just want to show you here what I have on the table here. So in case you are completely a noob and you have absolutely no idea about planets and glyphs and so on, I thought I did like a mirror of this, so that's kind of weird, but anyway, so I'm sure you could see it. It's a little backwards, but here are the signs. So here you've got the natal chart. So remember I said, let's go ahead and clear this. So I said this is Sag, right? So you've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So Sagittarius looks like a little arrow. So there's the little arrow. Capricorn can look different depending on who draws it. It's usually some sort of squiggly with the loop, sometimes an N. Uranus sometimes can look funny because it sometimes will look like this, And then sometimes this part will be like more, not so round, but more like a line. And then Saturn and Jupiter pretty much always look like that. These are the bigger planets. These are the more, so it goes from like the top to the bottom. So sun being pretty much the most important, and the moon, they're about equally important depending on when, and you know, so on. And then you've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be the big 7, technically. Then you've got Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they have different type of energies. So because Uranus, for instance, okay, like where I was going with this here, Uranus has a planet maturity. So each planet matures at different times. So right over here on the page here, I have the length of times. So I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. All right. So the sun, the cycle length is a year, 365 days. Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense because we know every month pretty much we have a new astrological sign, sun sign. So the sun is every year. The moon is cycle length is 28 to 29.5 days. As we know, we have a new moon and a full moon every month, and it's broken up by 2 weeks, and so that's why it's anywhere between 28 to 29.5 days. And then Mercury, the cycle length is 1 year, and it spends 14 to 30 days in each sign. So so far those are pretty normal. Like I said, these are your normal planets. These are the ones that are affecting you the most. Then you've got Venus. You've got Venus that has also a cycle length of a year, 23 days, 2 months per sign. And then you've got Mars, which is a cycle length of 2 years, and it spends 1.5 months per sign. So now this is where it gets a little interesting. So Jupiter, we just did, Saturn's next. Jupiter's cycle length is 12 years. It spends 1 year in each sign. So the fact that Jupiter just entered Pisces, right here. So this is Pisces. This is Jupiter right here. So Jupiter just entered Pisces, and you can see that. Let me just, what's that? See this go. So you look at the transits, because the transits is what's actually going on right now, as opposed the natal is what is mine. So again, just to reiterate, the inner part is my natal chart, the outer is the transit planets, and I just pulled this up as I started this recording. So it's today's date at this time, and this is where the planets are. So this morning, the sun and the moon were at about 5 degrees. We're at 12 degrees now. If you're interested, there's this really great website. Just Google Elliot Lonsdale. So it's ELIOT and he channeled all the degrees. So you can actually read like what 12 degrees Sag means, what 12 degrees Gemini means. And you might want to read both, because that would be like the energy right now. You could read 4 or 5 degrees from earlier to see what the energy of the solar eclipse was when it happened. Now, in order for you personally to determine what's going on in your life and where you're going to be affected, that's going to come down to the houses. Now, if you don't have an exact time of birth, it's going to be kind of difficult. Let's just say impossible. It's pretty much like every 2 hours that the rising sign changes. So if you don't have a proper birth time, the houses here are going to be different. So I do whole sign, and then I choose the north and the nodes, because we're going through the eclipse. So I wanted to make sure that you guys could see the nodes. So why do we have an eclipse? So that's the other question. So whenever the nodes are within, I believe, around 15 degrees of the luminaries. So in this case, well, like at the time of, so the moon, transiting moon at this very moment is at 9 degrees. The sun is at 5 degrees. It's when they did the eclipse this morning, they're both at 5 degrees. So you see the moon is moving a little faster, because the sun, the cycle length is 365 days, while the moon is 28 to 29.5 days. So does that make sense? All right, so then what I was trying to show you guys here in my 5th house, which basically what I am dealing with right now is the 5th house is being activated, the 11th house, and because we're squaring Jupiter and Pisces, that's just because of the way the things are right now, and my sun is in Pisces, but also Uranus is in Pisces, because remember, I have Uranus is actually in, or I'm sorry, why am I saying Uranus? This is actually Neptune. So Neptune is in Pisces, which it's at home in Pisces. Jupiter is now just entering Pisces. It's at its fall in the sign that I have it in, Capricorn. But Jupiter, its house rulership is Sagittarius. So Jupiter, this planet right here, which is now in Pisces, it likes to be here in Sagittarius, which is where the moon's at. So you've got a solar eclipse, super full flower blood moon, where you've got, not only do you got the sun and the eclipse, but you also have Venus and Mercury. And whenever you have Venus and Mercury together, I actually have Venus and Mercury together in my 7th house of Aquarius. And so what this actually means a lot of the times is good communication. So this, to me, is like, could potentially be good communication, right? But we're squaring, don't forget, we're squaring Jupiter and Pisces. Now, let me go over what that is real quick, just so you guys know what is what, because it is a little kind of confusing. And there are some tricks and stuff, and I haven't 100% figured it all out. But right now, this eclipse is mainly affecting the mutable signs in the most positive way. So if you are a mutable sign, you are going to experience this time period better than the other 8 signs. So if you don't know if your sign is mutable or not, I will let you know right now. So you've got Gemini, that's mutable. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Aquarius. It's sometimes, like, depending on the chart, like, I forget where I'm at. Okay, so here's Gemini. So Gemini, this is a mutable sign. It's mutable air. Okay, so the only way that a square can form is when the planets are 90 degrees apart and they are of the same facet. So we've got cardinal signs, fixed signs, and mutable signs, 3 different kinds, broken up. So 90 degrees, okay, so we know that Gemini to Pisces. There's 2 in between. So that's kind of how I remember square. I feel like I don't know. Someone told me like square, you put 2 fingers, and you guys can't see this, but you put 2 fingers in between the signs that are activated. In this case, you've got another mutable sign right here, which is Pisces. So you've got Gemini and Pisces, and then 2 between, so that makes it a square. And then you also have it over here, is it? Yes. So you've got Jupiter and Pisces here, and this is a mutable sign. And then you've got Sagittarius, which is also a mutable sign, but it's mutable fire. So we've got Gemini, which is mutable air. We have Pisces, which is mutable water. We have Sagittarius, which is mutable fire. And we have Virgo, which we didn't speak about because I don't have a lot of Virgo placements. It's actually the opposite of me. My brother is actually a Virgo, which is quite interesting. But I've heard that there's a lot of similarities between Pisces and Virgos, and they can actually help heal one another because of different things. You know, my brother, he's a Virgo sun, but he's also a Cancer moon. So being that he's got that Cancer moon, I think is maybe kind of the relation to the water or whatnot. I mean, I'm sure it all, because like I see patterns all the time in astrological charts. He actually have, and then here, this line right here is called the ascendant. So this is your first house. So this is all about you. So if you see, when you have planets in certain houses, those houses are going to be not more important to you per se, but like you're going to focus more attention on those. So if you don't know the houses, I believe I posted it on my Instagram, so you should check. If you want the printouts, I can share them with you. I got these from Astrology with Heather. I would just have to ask her if it would be okay if I shared them, because I did pay for them. So technically they do belong to me, right? Okay, so all right, back to the lesson real quick. So we identified what mutable means. And then there are also cardinal and fixed. So you can have squares with cardinal signs and fixed signs, but you get different energies. All right, so back to what I was trying to start with, but I'm coming back around. So let's clear this. Let's pick a different color. I feel like it is like so wibbly wobbly. Wibbly wobbly, wibbly wobbly, wibbly wobbly. But I wonder if you guys couldn't see the mouse before. No, I don't know. I don't know. All right, anyway. Okay, so let's close that. All right, so what I was trying to show you was, and I just lost my annotate. Why can't I color yellow? Explain. Better come out yellow. Okay, so remember when there it goes. 2 planets are less than, what did I say it was? 15 degrees of each other. The maturity of the early maturing planet will be held back. So this is really unfortunate for me because the moon, we remember, well, I don't know if I told you, but it matures at, I didn't do that yet. I figured I'd do that. Let me do that now. Okay. So you got planet Jupiter, which I'm going to do next, but it matures at 16 years old. So at 16 years old, you go through your Jupiter maturation. At 22 years old, you go through your sun maturation. At 24 years old, you go through your moon maturation. And these all have different, what's the word? Characteristics that go along with them. But I want to do a video on them because it's a lot. Venus is at 25 years old. Mars is at 28 years old. And this is maturation. So basically, when you get to this point, you've learned the lesson of Jupiter, or you've understood, you've gotten to that level of mastery. So for instance, Jupiter says 16 years old. Jupiter represents a sense of optimism, expansion, faith, luck, and good fortune. I mean, most 16-year-olds, I would say, you know, they're in that boat. So Jupiter, again, I reiterated that the cycle length is 12 years, 1 year in each sign. That's why right now we are in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces, which is squaring the nodes. And we also have, can I move this? Yeah. We also have a few other transits that are occurring. We just had Saturn go retrograde, Big Daddy Saturn with the rings. And we also have Mercury going retrograde this weekend or tomorrow or in a few days. And then we have Pluto going retrograde. But as you see here on my chart, I was actually born in a Saturn retrograde and I was born in a Pluto retrograde. So maybe I'm comfortable there. But yeah, so what I was trying to say is that Uranus, right? The cycle length is 84 years, 8 years per sign. So it's like I will never get the characteristics of my moon, which were actually quite important. So you'll want to watch that video until like I hit 84 or something. And if you know more than me, because like I said, I'm mainly a noob and I don't really know how to do the aspects very well, but I have Astro Matrix and I've tried really hard to learn all the different things as best I can. But yeah, I feel like this is a big time period for me. The fifth house being that it's about children, family, or I'm sorry, children, play, pleasure, joy, hobbies, romance, and creative expression, all of which I've been spending a whole lot of time doing. And on the 11th house, we've got friends, groups, memberships, humanitarian pursuits, internet, social media, social support, social recognition, hopes, and dreams, which I feel I've been working at too. But in order for you to figure out where you're activated, you're going to want to go to where in your chart you see your the sun, where you see the moon. And if you don't know how to pull up your chart, I can show you literally right now. Okay, so you literally just, I'm gonna move this a little bit, move this a little bit. So you would just type in here, I'm gonna just do it again, www.astro.com. They're going to make you create an account. It's free, okay? And then you can store information in there. So here's my natal chart. So if you wanted to add your information, you would do add new astro data and you would put your information in. Now you just put the birth town and then you hit continue and it'll bring a list of the states. So make sure you choose the right state. Make sure you put your birth date there, the year there, the hours here, and it's in both 24-hour format and 12 hours, so you can figure it out. but that's it. And then once you add it, it shows up in your stored astro. Like, so for instance, this is actually Donald Trump's chart. So let's pull him up. He's actually a Gemini sun. So we could like look at his chart real quick just to see what the difference is. We could see where he's being activated, right? Give you guys some context here. Full sign, sun sign, Gemini, ascendant, Leo. I am also a Leo rising. Makes a lot of sense for people out in the media, entrepreneurship, stuff like that. But okay, look at how different his chart is than mine. So this is technically like your horizon line right here. This is like the horizon. This is above the horizon. It goes, and this is below the horizon. So this is like basically like the underworld or the underbelly. This is like what you go through first as a child. Number one, you learn yourself. Number two, you learn other things, and other things as we get older are finances and possessions and attitudes towards money and attitudes towards things and ideas and everything. And that is there. One thing I wanted to touch on was to study your house rulerships, because if you study your house rulerships, it makes it a lot easier for you to look at your chart. Because basically what you need to do is, what I like to do is I like to print out my natal chart and I like to write in the house rulers, just because it's like easier for me to see. And then whatever the house ruler is, so for instance, this here is Cancer, right? The house ruler or the ruling planet is the moon. So you also need to look to the moon. So 12th house themes and 11th house themes are going to be linked together, because he has his 12th house, which is Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, but his moon is in the sign of Gemini. And remember that backwards. I feel like something didn't happen right. That's really weird. Oh, it's just because it's printed on both sides. It's hard to see. But yeah. So what you can see that's a lot different here in his chart than mine is, for instance, his ascendant is in a really weird place. Usually your ascendant is right on your like first line here. It's not going to be down in here. But what was his time of birth? It could be 10:54 a.m. That's strange. Yeah, he's got a very weird chart. So his ascendant is Leo. So this is pretty much like set up exactly the way that mine was. So we could technically do probably a side by side, but I'm not going to get that crazy into it. But let's just see with his transits what's activated, just because that was the whole point of all this. All right, so being that he's a Leo rising, he's in the pretty much same boat as me, but he's going to have different planets in his houses. So he also has his moon in the 5th house. Look at that. Wow, okay. But his moon, as we said, is wait a minute. Oh, is that for real? So his sun is in Gemini, his moon's in Sag. Okay, so his moon is the same as mine. Mercury, Cancer, Venus, Cancer, Mars, Leo, Jupiter, Libra, Cancer, Saturn, Gemini, Uranus, Neptune, Libra, Pluto, Leo, True Node, Gemini, Descending, Sag, Chiron, Libra. He's got a lot of earth, a little bit of, he's got then fire, then water, or I'm sorry, he's got mostly air. I don't know how I just misspoke there. I said this like just recently and I laughed about it. He's mostly air, and then followed by fire, then water, and then a very little bit of earth. And that's his MC. And what's so funny is your MC is a place where it's like where you want to get to. Okay, you want to get there, like somehow career wise or whatnot. That's why it's usually in the 10th house. The MC is usually in the 10th house. Mine actually happens to be in the 9th house, which is in religion, philosophy, morality, ethics, beliefs, higher education, foreign cultures, long distance travel, publishing, and teaching. And I was a substitute teacher. I write a lot. I love other cultures. So it's like almost like for me, it's like I'm one of those gurus. I don't know if that's really what I want to call myself, but I'm not your typical, I'm not in my MC is not in my career house. It's in my religion and my philosophy house. This is like your doctorate. And Sagittarius is actually known for education. So right now at this time, there could be a lot of emphasis on a change in education because of the other transits that I will continue to explain down the road. But yeah, so let's just go over the house rulership so you understand. So Aries here is ruled by Mars. He's got no planets in there, so we're not worried about it. Here, Pisces, it's ruled by either Neptune or Jupiter, but he's got no planets there, and he's got Neptune and Jupiter transiting his Pisces, which is, they're comfortable there. So that's his 8th house, which is death, rebirth, transformation, intimacy, sex, trauma, psychological issues, fears. That's also the house that's being triggered for me as well. Other people's money, debt, taxes, inheritance, investments, occult. I actually watched something on him where they tried to say that he could potentially have been a part of some ancient occult thing. Not ancient, why do I say ancient, but early occult thing. I don't know the source, so it's just hearsay. But yeah, so you've got first, like I said, and then now we're here at Aquarius. Aquarius, the ruling planet is Uranus or Saturn. He doesn't have any planets there. And this is your house of relationships, and he's got no planets. He's got no house in death, rebirth, transformation. My sun is actually there, which is actually a really hard placement. Aries, the 9th house here is about religion. He's got nothing there. That's why I feel like he's got no higher power to look towards. And then here, his health, this is health. He's got no planets in his health, and he's got Pluto transiting his health, which I wonder if he did have any types of issues with his health this month, because let's look and see if the Pluto had any, see, that's the other thing. This website isn't the same as, if you download the Astro Matrix app, it's awesome because it gives you the transits for yourself. This is just your natal chart transits, I believe. I could be wrong, though. This could be transits for Pluto, Sextile Uranus. So you've got Uranus here and a sextile, just so you guys know. I didn't finish going over all of it. A sextile is when planets are 60 degrees apart. So that is the energy of the sextile is one of opportunity, and these are beneficial. Sextiles are 2 signs apart, right? So we had the square, which were 90 degrees apart, and the sextile, which is 60 degrees apart. So if he's having a sextile in his Pluto-Uranus area here, so you got, that would be, where's his Pluto, Uranus, Pluto. So it could either go, it's not that, right? It's with this. How many did I say? 2 signs apart. Yeah. So download Astro Matrix, because this transit here, these transits are just your natal transits. So if you're trying to figure out like your current transits for the day, unless you're an astrologer, you're not going to be able to figure it out. Astro Matrix app, it literally like gives you all the information. You don't really have to think. It also gives you like a whole learning section and everything like that. So let's see where a lot of his energy is. It's in the 11th house, which is friends, group, memberships, but he's got strange old Uranus there. Uranus is strange with his sun in Gemini for friends. Makes sense. Lots of weird, strange networking opportunities there. Interesting. And then here in his 12th house, which is all about endings and undoings, loss, misfortune, spirituality, subconscious, dreams, places that are hidden, hospitals, temples, brothels, prisons. He's got Mars transiting his, he's got Venus there, Saturn, and I said Mercury, Saturn, and Venus. So he's got Mercury, Saturn, and Venus in his 12th house. So remember I said when you got Mercury and Venus together, it's communication, but he's communicating in the 12th house of endings and undoings. He's got Saturn, which is Saturn is not fun. Usually Saturn represents challenges and an area of hardship, limitation, and restriction. The cycle length for Saturn is 28 to 30 years. So they spend Saturn spends 2.5 years in each sign. So that's why why we're in the middle of this huge Saturn transit. It all started back during the conjunction December 21st. And now we've been just bombarded with Saturn conjunctions and Saturn squares and stuff like that. And then Uranus, we went over, has an 84-year lifespan, but it represents innovation, inspiration, liberation, as well as chaos and disruption. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Chaos, destruction with his friends, with his sun. So it's like shining light on it. So people might be blinded. But then he's got this. The red lines are bad. Technically, the blue lines are good. So he's got red lines here are what they call inconjunctions. Yeah, because a conjunction would be like if they were together next to each other. So an inconjunction or an opposition. It would be an opposition when planets are 180 degrees apart. So we've got conjunction when the planets are 0 to 12 degrees apart. We've got the sextile when planets are 60 degrees apart. We have the square when planets are 90 degrees apart. We have the trine when planets are 120 degrees apart. The in conjunction planets are 150 degrees apart, and the opposition planets are 180 degrees apart. And since this is pretty much 360 degrees-ish, give or take, because 12 signs at around 30, right? Doing the math right. They're not exactly 30 days each sign, but yeah, it's about that. That's why we have leap years and all that jazz. And then the only thing that I didn't go over was Pluto. Pluto represents karma, intensity, passion, power, and transformation. And the cycle length is 248 years. Whoa, buddy. So, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say for today. I also wanted to show off my beautiful crystals. Shout out to Magic Masters. I won the raffle from them and Bandits Emporium. I won the Modern Witch Tarot deck. I won that beautiful black obsidian you see over there, along with some of these tumbled stones, this big heart. And I have a surprise to show you. So I was online and I thought my little community would appreciate this. There was my boyfriend, he was adopted, and he came from a town called Goshen, New York. And we always knew he was born in Goshen, New York, but we didn't know who his birth family was. Well, we did find them. Okay, they found us. Let's put it that way. They found us. And it was such a great story. It was like the best story ever. Like people say all the time, like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to find my family because, you know, things might not go well or whatever. Not the case in this situation at all. Great family, great people. He's got a full-blood brother that he speaks with all the time, and he has sisters, and he has another little brother. So the only thing is that they're up in New York, so we don't get to see them that often. But hopefully soon, now that COVID is done and everything like that, that we can actually see them. But so what happened was, I was on Etsy, and it was like, I don't believe in coincidences. I only believe in synchronicities. And I found this artwork, and I was immediately drawn to it. And I have some others, but I don't want to show them off because I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. These are the ones I'm for sure keeping because they were autographed by the author. But they're by Terry Foss out of Goshen, New York. This is the print. It says thank you on it just because she put a sticker, but we'll take it out. So there was another one I liked, but I asked my boyfriend and he picked this one, and we used to have a shepherd. So, and what's great is she actually gave me a small version of the same card. Terry went in and was so generous and threw in a bunch of extra stuff. And isn't it kind of ironic that this is like the blood moon? This could be our blood moon card. I was thinking, like, I have some ideas for some of the cards that I have because they're all witchy like this. Oh, and see here on the back. Signed. And this is her original witches line. This was her very first witches line that she ever did. And it's completely out of print. So I got it on sale, and I don't think anyone ever is going to get it again. I also got this one, which I was awesomely surprised because I did not choose it. The lighting is not so great, but there we go. And she also signed that one. So yeah, beautiful. I'm going to frame this one. Probably frame this one. Loving the forest. As many of you know, I live in South Florida, and it's so hard for me because I never get to see the beautiful fall. I miss it. I miss it a lot. So, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great one. I hope you did some manifesting for the full moon. I hope that my posts were helpful. And stick around and come back and see me soon because I have some projects that I have ready to go that I want to work on with the group, potentially maybe on Twitch. So let me know if you are following me on Twitch, if you'd be willing to do some DIY, if you want to do something like I thought instead of doing something like big where I'm streaming for the whole world, if a small group is interested, we can actually get into Discord, which you could actually download right on your cell phone. It works great. And you can either do a voice channel or you could do a video channel. So you could speak face to face in a group. So, or like, and then there's a way for me to be like doing a Q&A type situation. So like if you guys have questions, you can type your questions in and then I can answer them and so on. Or like I was thinking, because it's DIY and I'm not gonna be like streaming or presenting or putting on a show, but basically talking and chatting with you guys. If we did it in the channel, there is a channel that we could do DIY in, and like everybody can kind of just show their screens and just chat and let everyone know what everyone's working on, or we could pick something to work on. But yeah, I've got a poppet ready to go, and I want to do a wealth spell or a boost business spell, which I'm sure everybody could use right now, a boost in income. And yeah, and I want to get that Modern Witch deck out at some point. So I hope you guys have a great one. I hope you learned a little bit about astrology and enjoyed this beautiful photo of what I seem to think is a version of the blood moon. Because normally the blood moon was later in the year, and we happen to have it this time in May. Very strange. If anyone knows the answer to that, let me know. Because I'm pretty sure from what I read, the blood moon, and I can check it right now, is usually, I have cosmic crystals, rituals and meditations for connecting with lunar energy. And as far as the blood moon goes, let me find it. So in May, it's called the flower moon, which you heard me say. So it is a flower moon, but it's also also right now we're in a Scorpio. Wait, is that right? Let's pull up. Did it move? Oh yeah, well we did have a Scorpio moon last night, but so last night would have been good for the black obsidian, which I have right here. Oops. I hope you guys can't see that when I do that. But yeah, so let's see, blood moon, that's what I was doing. Strong close, Jimmy, strong close. Where are you? I know. Oh, here it is. Okay. See? That was annoying. Idea. The blood moon October. See that? So I feel like, being that this is Christmassy, or what am I talking about? She's holding a pumpkin. So very well could be supposed to represent the blood moon. It says the blood moon is so named because it occurs during the time of the hunt. After the domestication of livestock, this moon became associated with the time that animals were slaughtered for food. This moon is also known as the falling leaf moon because this is when trees drop their leaves. It's kind of like the opposite of spring. So maybe it's almost like it flip-flopped. And maybe when we have that solar eclipse in Sagittarius later in the year, we might get a little bit something different. I don't know. We'll see. If you belong to the library, I'm probably going to return this today. So if you want to borrow it and you're in Coral Springs, go get it. All righty. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.